Stop the cameras, because this wasn't your average messy love and hip-hop taping. This was chaos served on a silver platter. Production thought they were in for the usual drama, but instead, the crew scrambled, the cast froze, and fans couldn't believe their eyes. Word is the entire shoot shut down when a heated clash spiraled off script, turning vicious and way too real. Insiders swear Mendices, normally calm as a monk, snapped the moment Yandy got dragged straight into the fire. The set went silent, then exploded. Voices flying, accusations cutting, security ready to pounce. Some swear it was Sierra's nonstop shade that lit the match, while others blame producers for engineering the meltdown, knowing the tension was seconds from combustion. Either way, one fact's locked in. This wasn't reality TV anymore. It was reality hijacking the TV. Crew members reportedly screamed to cut the cameras, but the eruption didn't stop. And now fans everywhere are left with one burning question. What happens when the footage finally leaks? How did this circus spiral so far off the rails? And what does it spell for the future of love and hip-hop? Let's be clear, the chaos didn't just start on camera. It had been simmering in hushed whispers, shady digs, and fake smiles long before the explosion. Everyone on set felt the tension crawling under the surface, but no one predicted it would combust this violently, not even producers who make a living feeding off mess. That morning, the cast showed up expecting sparks, but instead, they walked into a full-on inferno, so Wild Production had no choice but to slam the brakes. Mendices, usually branded the calm chess player, hit a breaking point his own friends hadn't seen. For weeks, he'd been quietly shouldering the weight of ugly rumors while trying to shield his family's name from constant attacks. Yandy, polished as ever, masked the storm by posting her daily doses of cheerful quotes and curated smiles, pretending nothing could touch her. But the sharp-eyed fans clocked the cracks, her tense tone when her name got dragged, her long stares at her phone whenever a shady post went viral. Meanwhile, Sierra? She thrived on the chaos, built her whole brand on never backing down, and this time she leaned in with both heels planted. She didn't just let the whispers swirl, she doubled down, tossing out sly comments online, hinting that the so-called perfect family was about as flawless as a cracked mirror. Fans went wild, decoding captions, emojis, and shade until conspiracy threads were trending by sunrise. Then came the infamous group dinner. 1 second drinks and laughs, the next dead silence after Sierra slid in a jab about loyalty that cut deeper than anyone expected. Yandy tried to play it cute, brushing it off, but the damage was stamped in stone. Mendices sat frozen, jaw clenched so tight his silence screamed louder than any clapback. By morning, the internet was on fire again. Sierra had liked a shady post calling out a couple for faking happiness. No names needed, everyone already knew who she meant. Yandy clapped back with a picture-perfect family post about love and loyalty, but instead of ending the feud, it just turned gasoline into rocket fuel. Word behind the scenes? Producers clocked the surge in engagement and couldn't resist. So, they schemed up scenes that locked all three in the same orbit. What they sold as reality TV magic was really a ticking time bomb, and when cameras rolled again, that gamble was about to explode. The air was thick enough to slice with a knife, crew members whispering about whether security should already be on standby while castmates traded uneasy glances. Sierra strutted in wearing her trademark smirk, scrolling her phone like the drama was beneath her. Yandy followed, polished as ever, but the stiffness in her smile exposed the storm brewing inside. Then came Mendices' quiet entrance. Massive shift. He wasn't even meant to be center stage, but his protective energy made it clear he wasn't, fading into the wallpaper. Producers signaled, cameras lit, and the scene opened in slow, careful tones. A producer poked the bear, asking about recent tensions. Sierra pounced instantly, her voice laced with venom, tossing accusations about people faking for the cameras. The room's temperature dropped, silence pressing in like a weighted blanket. Yandy responded steady but sharp, daring Sierra to say it all out loud. And that's when Sierra crossed the line, leaning in with fire, calling Yandy manipulative, and branding her a victim playing backstabber. Gasps erupted across the cast like fireworks on the 4th of July. And just like that, every eye locked on Mendices. He shifted forward, voice low but razor sharp, warning Sierra not to disrespect. His wife? A rare sight. The calm one stepping straight into the fire, and his tone sliced the air clean, silencing the room. But Sierra? Unmoved. She let out a mocking laugh, taunting him for playing Yandy's knight, then twisted the knife, hinting that if he knew everything, his loyalty might not stand so tall. That single tease detonated across the set, seeding doubt and curiosity in every corner. Yandy's mask slipped, her voice cracking higher as she snapped, blasting Sierra for chasing clout and tearing families apart just to stay relevant. The tension detonated. Sierra shot to her feet, shouting about receipts she allegedly had in the stash. Crew members froze, castmates whispered in panic, and sneaky phones slid out under tables to catch what they knew could be viral gold. Mendices rose slow but towering, his fury barely leashed as he demanded Sierra back down. His tone stayed measured, but his rage was written all over him. And still, Sierra pushed harder, slinging shade about Yandy's secret conversations and hidden truths that the world deserved to see. Producers hovered on the edge, torn between cutting the feed or letting the bomb keep ticking. What producers planned as harmless drama spiraled into a raw brawl no script could cage. Yandy, shaking with rage, fired back, her voice breaking as she branded Sierra a jealous liar. The set erupted, half the cast begging for calm, while the rest leaned in like it was front-row theater. Security crept closer, but Mendices stood his ground, finger pointed, voice booming as he accused Sierra of wrecking families just to chase attention. His words sliced through the noise like a blade. Sierra only smirked, tossing a line that detonated across the room. If the truth breaks your family, maybe it wasn't that strong to begin with. That was the spark. Yandy lunged forward, yanked back at the last second by another castmate, while security closed in on Mendices as he shoved past. Fury locked on Sierra. The room unraveled into pure chaos. Cast screaming, crew scrambling. Producers yelling cut while cameras refused to stop rolling. Drinks toppled, chairs screeched, and voices thundered off the walls. At that point, it wasn't TV anymore. It was war caught live on tape. It was messy, it was dangerous, and it was spiraling with no breaks. When the chaos finally thinned, the wreckage was impossible to ignore. Security held Mendices back while Sierra stood her ground, smirking like she'd just won a war nobody else could see. Yandy's voice cracked through the noise, trembling as she accused Sierra of ripping her family apart. Sierra snapped back, crowing that the truth always surfaces, tossing gasoline on already raging flames. Castmates traded horrified looks, some whispering this had gone way too far. Families should never be the target. Producers, realizing the monster they'd unleashed, had no choice. With a sharp command, the set shut down. Cameras cut, lights dimmed, and what was supposed to be scripted drama collapsed into uncontrollable carnage. Crew scattered as whispers flew. Was Sierra out of line, or had Mendices crossed a boundary? One thing was undeniable. Love and Hip Hop had just witnessed a showdown so raw, so unfiltered, it altered the franchise's entire pulse. Entertainment had crossed into dangerous territory, and there was no roadmap back. Meanwhile, the outside world was already on fire. Clips leaking within minutes, fans dissecting every frame, demanding answers. What started as just another day on set detonated into one of reality TV's most unforgettable meltdowns. Backstage, the air hung heavy with fallout still to come. Whispers filled the air, footsteps echoing as producers huddled in tight circles, voices sharp and panicked. Security lingered by the exits, bracing for round two. Behind closed doors, the debate raged: bury the footage forever, or unleash it for the kind of scandal that keeps a franchise alive for months. Yandy sat crumpled in a corner, face buried in her hands as tears slid through her fingers, friends murmuring useless comfort. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Texts from castmates, worried calls from fans, and gut-punch messages from her own kids, who had already seen shaky clips tearing through social media like wildfire. Headlines exploded. Love and Hip Hop shut down after explosive fight. Comments piled up by the thousands. Meanwhile, Sierra was basking in the chaos, her mascara streaked from yelling, yet her energy unshaken. She whipped out her phone, hopped on Instagram Live, and smirked like the villain she knew she was. With dripping sarcasm, she told her audience, "I didn't even say half of what I know. If they want to try me again, trust. I've got receipts." Within seconds, her stream swarmed with viewers, some hyping her up, others dragging her, for trashing families on camera. The comments turned into a war zone of fire emojis, accusations, and demands for proof. Outside, Mendices paced furiously, his chest heaving, his fury looking far from finished. His chest still heaved from the storm inside, security shadowing him but keeping distance, wary of the fire blazing in his eyes. Friends circled, trying to calm him, but his voice stayed low, guttural, repeating on loop. "She's dragging my wife's name through the mud. I won't let her do that." Moments later, Yandy stepped outside, cheeks streaked with tears, her trembling voice begging him to stop. "Every time you fight back, it makes me look guilty," she whispered, clutching his arm. For a flicker, his face softened, but the storm never really left. He felt cornered, baited into snapping, convinced Sierra had orchestrated it all. Inside, the cast was split. Rashida muttered to crew she'd never seen things spiral this far in all her years, while another castmate whispered that if this footage ever aired, someone's career would be finished. But fear couldn't smother the frenzy. Online fans dissected every second of the leak, replaying the instant Mendices rose when Yandy broke, and Sierra flashed that taunting smirk. Podcasts dropped emergency episodes overnight. Bloggers plastered headlines dripping in chaos, and reaction channels analyzed body language frame by frame. By sunrise, the scandal had detonated beyond repair, gossip sites splashing titles like "Production halts amid explosive fight" and "Sierra claims Yandy is hiding secrets." Fan accounts flooded every feed, dropping memes like grenades. Some crowned Sierra the fearless queen of shade, while others dragged her as a clout chaser desperate for clicks. Hashtags exploded, #TeamYandy, #TeamSierra, and #ProtectMendices, all trending shoulder to shoulder, pulling fans deeper into the circus. Yandy's supporters filled her comments with heart emojis and pep talks, swearing her image as the loyal wife couldn't be cracked. But the skeptics, they went straight for the jugular, asking why she looked so nervous if she had nothing to hide. Sierra's tribe fanned the flames even harder. "Drop the receipts, sis," one wrote. Another chimed in, "Expose everybody. We're ready." Thrilled by the chaos, Sierra doubled down, posting a cryptic selfie with the caption, "The eye. Truth always comes out." That one line sent fan theories into overdrive, convincing thousands she really did have nuclear dirt on Yandy's private life. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, producers held an emergency meeting thick with panic. The showrunner slammed his fist and barked, "Two options: bury this mess and look like we're covering for Yandy, or air it and risk the whole network torching us." Lawyers circled the table, warning lawsuits were already lurking. While the IBSO marketing team drooled over the chaos, swearing the buzz was too hot to bury. Nobody wanted to touch the final decision. One truth hung heavy in the room. The genie was out, and there was no shoving it back in. The clips were viral, the story unstoppable, and silence would only feed the fire. The fallout spilled far past reality TV. Brands linked to Yandy and Mendices called their managers in a panic, warning that unless the scandal cooled, contracts might start disappearing. Yandy, already rattled, feared her carefully polished image, built on strength, composure, and bosswoman energy, was about to crumble overnight. Meanwhile, Mendices, quieter in public, battled demons in private. Friends whispered he felt cornered, certain every move he made would be twisted into proof of guilt. But Sierra? She basked in the spotlight. Her followers ballooned as blogs, tripped over each other for interviews. She poured gasoline on the flames, posting, "Lies always come to light. I said what I said." That cocky confidence convinced fans she held nuclear receipts capable of wrecking Yandy's empire. Real or not, perception was power, and Sierra owned it. For once, she wasn't background noise. She was the headline. And in the shadows, insiders claimed Yandy's kids were already dragged into the wreckage. Trolls dragged the drama to new lows, tagging Yandy's kids in nasty comments. "That's the final straw," she reportedly sobbed to a friend. "Come for me all you want, but leave my children out of it." Her protective side roared to life, and with every cruel dig, Her patience for the producers' messy games evaporated. Fans devoured the chaos, sure, but even diehards began asking if the show had finally crossed the line. Was this still entertainment or straight-up exploitation? The leak didn't feel scripted. It felt raw, ugly, uncontrollable, and that made it addictive and terrifying all at once. Then came the whispers of a spin-off. A blogger swore producers were plotting a new series built around Sierra and her so-called truth bombs. The rumor split the fan base down the middle, half disgusted that toxicity was being rewarded, the other half already clearing their schedules to binge. True or not, the possibility poured gasoline on an already blazing fire. And through it all, one chilling question refused to die. Who was really telling the truth? Was Sierra just clout chasing? Or did she actually have the receipts that could shatter Yandy's empire and drag Mendices down with it? Was Mendices simply standing up for his family? Or covering a mess even bigger than anyone guessed? The producer's radio silence only fanned the flames, leaving speculation to run wild. That showdown hadn't just paused filming, it cracked the foundation of the entire franchise. Fans were left wondering if love and hip-hop could ever bounce back from a storm this ugly. But instead of cooling, the chaos spread like wildfire. Blogs, podcasts, and timelines turned the leaked clips into endless loops, with everyone arguing over who was right, who was wrong, and what this all really meant. Producers scrambled to spin the narrative, but every attempt to quiet the noise only made it roar louder. Insiders whispered execs were panicking, watching helplessly as the franchise slipped through their fingers. And while they scrambled, Sierra poured gasoline on the fire. Her lives became events, each one packed with cryptic hints, flashing a mystery folder on her phone, smirking mid-laugh, then dropping lines like, "Maybe the world isn't ready for the truth yet." Fans flooded her comments, begging her to spill. The pressure built, and so did the divide. Half the audience demanded receipts, half demanded her silence. Half the crowd screamed for receipts, while the other half dragged Sierra for spinning lies to stay relevant. But let's be real, the drama only boosted her stock, plastering her name across every headline like she was the main event. Yandy, in classic damage control mode, leaned hard into her brand. Think glossy family portraits, motivational captions, and sleek clips of her businesses. But eagle-eyed fans caught the switch. The posts weren't soft and inspirational anymore. They were sharp, defensive, practically shouting at the haters without ever naming them, and the audience clocked it fast. "Stay strong, Queen," some cheered. Others side-eyed her, asking, "If you've got nothing to hide, why are you defending so hard?" Suddenly, every filtered photo and carefully typed caption turned into Exhibit A in the messiest trial by public opinion reality TV has ever seen. With fans playing judge and jury, Mendices did the one thing nobody expected. He vanished. After his meltdown hit the internet, he ghosted social media completely, leaving a gaping silence. Instantly, the theories poured in. Some swore he was drowning in regret, while others painted it as a chess move to shield Yandy without fanning the flames. But here's the catch. Silence in a world addicted to noise only breeds more questions. Was he gagged by producers? Warned by lawyers? Or just betting that his presence alone said enough? Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the cast started eating itself alive. Half the crew rallied behind Yandy, blasting Sierra for dragging family into TV beef. The other half whispered that Sierra only dared to voice what everyone else had been thinking all along. Camera, comma. The whispers turned to shouting. Castmates accused each other of leaking stories to blogs, faking neutrality while secretly fueling the fire and playing both sides for clout. Whatever fake unity the group once had, completely shattered. Suspicion wasn't just in the air, it owned the room. The producers were scrambling, desperate to stitch the season back together, pitching a shiny redemption arc where the chaos magically turned into hugs and forgiveness. Cute idea, but the cast wasn't buying it. Mendices flat out refused to share air with Sierra unless she swore never to drag Yandy again. Yandy threatened to pack her bags the second her kids got dragged back into the mud. And Sierra, please. Riding high on her follower surge, she laughed. In their faces, bragging that no lawyer, no contract, and no producer could ever muzzle her. "Cut me a check big enough," she smirked, "and maybe I'll shut up." Fans devoured every messy second. Reaction channels churned out hour-long breakdowns, zooming in on glares, eye rolls, and the way Mendices leaned forward like he was ready to pounce. Some even dragged in body language experts to analyze every crossed arm and side dash eye dot. This wasn't just a fight anymore, it was a cultural autopsy. Podcasts raged on about whether reality TV had finally blurred the line between scripted chaos and actual breakdowns. And just when everyone thought it couldn't get messier, bam. A leaked screenshot hit the internet, allegedly from a private group chat between several cast members. In the alleged screenshot, someone typed about bringing down the empire and even tagged Sierra's name. That one blurry image set the internet on fire. Was it authentic? Was it photoshopped? And if it was legit, did it mean Sierra wasn't stirring the pot alone? Fans went wild, pointing fingers at the quiet castmates, convinced there was a shadow alliance plotting to dethrone Yandy and Mendices. Others rolled their eyes, calling it nothing. More than a planted distraction to keep clicks rolling without dropping real receipts. Yandy quickly clapped back in her signature polished tone, posting a story where she blasted the screenshot as dangerous lies and swore no one would ever rip her family apart, though the exhaustion in her words was impossible to miss. Mendices stayed silent, which only poured gasoline on the speculation. Meanwhile, Sierra did what Sierra does best, fan the flames without ever confirming a thing. She liked posts, tossed out laughing emojis, and let her followers write the narrative for her. Behind the scenes, though, the network was sweating. Word spread that lawyers had stepped in, warning both Mendices and Sierra that if they didn't chill, they risked breaking their contracts. Penalties, frozen checks, even lawsuits on the line. Suddenly, this wasn't just a love and hip-hop feud. This was the kind of mess that could spill out of reality TV and straight into the courtroom. This wasn't just about messy reunion drama anymore. It was about what could blow up in courtrooms. Boardrooms and those smoke-filled meetings behind closed doors. Even sponsors started sweating bullets. Brands linked to Yandy allegedly fired off nervous emails, one leak even reading, "If these rumors don't die down, we may need to reconsider our partnership." Meanwhile, Sierra was getting courted by fresh offers. Because let's be real, controversy sells, and she'd become the poster child for it. She doubled down on her truth-teller persona, flaunting the villain crown and promising she'd keep shaking tables. Consequences be damned. But the toll was brutal. Yandy, drained and raging, vented to friends that she felt betrayed, not just by Sierra, but by the producers who had let this circus run wild. Mendices, once her anchor, wrestled with guilt, fearing his outburst only fanned the flames. And Sierra? She might have laughed in public, but behind the scenes she confessed to allies that the constant spotlight was crushing. Nights spent scrolling through endless comments, half praise, half venom, were leaving her sleepless. And through it all, one impossible question haunted everyone. How far would this really go? Could the franchise even crawl out of this wreckage? Sure, love and hip-hop had always dined on chaos, but this wasn't your usual scripted for ratings mess. This was raw, personal, and nuclear. Families got dragged, reputations shattered, and producers? They lost the reins on their own monster. Fans weren't just entertained, they were invested, dissecting every glare and clapback like jurors deciding a verdict. Still, one fact stood tall in the rubble. This showdown was the most talked about moment the franchise had ever seen. Would it burn the empire down or shoot it into ratings heaven? No one knew, but the impact was undeniable. From living rooms to Twitter wars, YouTube deep dives to gossip podcasts, the world couldn't shut up about it. This wasn't just a fight anymore. It had become a symbol of what happens when reality TV finally goes off script and spins into something untamable. The stage wasn't just set for the next chapter, it was set for history. But one thing was certain: the dust hadn't settled, and it wasn't going to anytime soon. Every whisper, every cryptic post, every leak only poured more fuel on the fire, dragging fans deeper into a storm with no exit. The scandal between Mendices, Yandy, and Sierra had blown past the limits of a love and hip-hop storyline. It was no longer reality TV. It was a full-blown cultural moment spilling into blogs, timelines, and boardrooms across the entertainment world. Producers tried to shut it down, even suspending filming, but the drama wouldn't die. If anything, the silence made it spread faster. Blogs cranked out daily updates. TikTok creators went viral breaking down every frame of footage. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to deciding who was lying and who was telling the truth. The fight had escaped the set. It was unfolding live on millions of screens. Fans demanded receipts, and Ciara knew exactly how to keep them hooked. She teased them with cryptic captions, cropped screenshots, and half-told stories. Then came the post that broke the internet. A boomerang of a folder on her desk labeled "Proof." She never opened it. She didn't have to. The image alone sent her followers into a frenzy, flooding her comments with pleas, threats, and wild theories about what secrets were waiting inside. Ciara's stunt split the internet in two. Some swore she was bluffing, while others believed she had the power to shatter Yandy's polished image once and for all. Either way, Ciara had the spotlight, and she wasn't about to let it slip. Meanwhile, Yandy, drained, restless, and tired of the whispers, finally went live on Instagram. Her voice was steady, but her eyes told another story. She flat out denied the rumors. "People will say anything for clout. My family is strong, my marriage is strong, and no one will tear that apart." Fans rushed the comments with love, flooding her with hearts and "Stay Strong Queen" messages. But the skeptics pounced too. Within minutes, clips of her live were chopped up, re-uploaded, and plastered with captions like "Why so defensive?" and "What is she really hiding?" Every word, every gesture became evidence in the court of public opinion. Mendices, meanwhile, stayed in the shadows. But insiders claimed he was boiling inside, furious at being painted as unstable after the leaked footage caught him yelling. "He's not used to being the center of a scandal," one source revealed, "and it's eating at him." He swears Ciara dangled the bait and he chomped down like it was dinner time. But instead of fighting back, Mendices went ghost, leaving a giant silence that fans happily stuffed with wild theories. Some claimed lawyers slapped duct tape on his mouth. Others swore he was secretly plotting a comeback statement timed like a reality TV cliffhanger. Meanwhile, the network was drowning. Sponsors threatened to bounce, execs were yelling in boardrooms, and lawyers were pulling caffeine-fueled marathons. Then, boom, a leaked memo dropped. No live phones, security beefed up, and every post screened by PR. Fans read it and lost their minds. "This show is supposed to be raw, you can't airbrush a train wreck," one snapped. Others sighed, saying maybe it was the only way to keep the circus alive. Then came the juicier part. Blogs whispered Ciara might get slapped with defamation if her claims flopped, and Mendices could face contract fallout for snapping on camera. True or not, the thought of this mess spilling into real courtrooms had fans foaming. Forget the storyline, everyone wanted front row seats to the trial. Insiders swore Yandy was cracking behind closed doors, terrified that years of crafting her boss lady image could shatter overnight. Trolls dragging her kids into the chaos became her breaking point. She allegedly vented to a friend, "Come for me if you want, but dragging my children? That's a sin I'll never forgive." Meanwhile, Mendices, ever the protector, battled guilt, knowing his fiery outburst only fueled suspicions. And Ciara? Oh, she played cool in public, but in private, insiders say she admitted the spotlight was burning her alive. Still, every time she thought about retreating, she remembered the surge in followers, the interviews begging for her time, and the chance to finally step out from the sidelines. Fans, of course, kept the fire blazing. YouTubers slowed the leaked footage down frame by frame. One viral clip froze on the moment Yandy's poker face cracked, while another zoomed in on Ciara's sly smirk like it was courtroom evidence. Podcasts went wild, debating whether producers pushed too hard, and gossip forums blew up with conspiracy theories about what Yandy was really hiding. Even people who normally roll their eyes at reality TV mess found themselves addicted. Then came the biggest twist yet: whispers of a Ciara spinoff. Bloggers claimed the network was considering making her the star truth teller. Fans split, half screaming that she was being rewarded for chaos, the other half chanting that it would be must-watch TV. The rumor only poured gasoline on a fire that had already outgrown the franchise itself. And the producers? Silent as statues, letting speculation run wild like it was part of the script. That silence became its own storyline, with fans split down the middle. Some swore the network was secretly cooking up a comeback, saving every messy clip for a reunion bombshell. Others argued it was proof the chaos had gone nuclear, that even the execs didn't know if their golden goose could survive the fallout. With every passing day, reality and entertainment blurred into one giant circus. Was this just a ratings ploy, or had the drama slipped completely out of control? Fans didn't care. They were addicted, refreshing for the next leak, the next shady caption, the next twist no one saw coming. What started as a blow-up between three castmates had mutated into something far bigger. This wasn't just Mendices defending Yandy, or Sierra tossing shade. This was reputations on the line, families dragged in, contracts threatened, brands panicking, and the very survival of the show in question. The empire of mess that once thrived on chaos now stood on shaky ground, its future dangling by a thread. Still, one fact was undeniable. That confrontation rewrote the game. Fans couldn't see the cast the same way. Producers had lost their grip, and the world was tuned in closer than ever. Love and hip-hop had officially crossed a line it might never step back from. The dust? Oh, it wasn't settling, it was thickening. Each whisper, each blurry screenshot, each cryptic post only fed the storm, leaving the audience starving for more while the cast choked on a reality that suddenly felt too real. And now the question isn't just floating, it's choking the room. What's next for Love and hip-hop? Will producers be reckless enough to shove Mendices, Yandy, and Sierra back into the same space, or has this clash scorched the ground so badly there's no coming back? Fans are split down the middle. Some scream for accountability, others demand the raw, uncut footage so they can play judge and jury themselves. One thing's undeniable. This moment rattled the franchise harder than any messy storyline before, leaving the future dangling in chaos. But here's where you come in. Do you really think Sierra is sitting on those so-called receipts? Or is she just thirsty for the spotlight? Was Mendices right to blow up for his wife? Or did he fall face first into her trap? And what about Yandy? Is she still the unshakable queen she's branded herself as? Or are the cracks finally showing? Drop your takes below. Whose side are you riding with? What should producers do next? And can this show even survive the storm? Don't just watch the mess, step into it. And if you're ready for every twist, leak, and meltdown as it drops, hit that like, smash subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Because trust me, the next chapter could flip this entire saga on its head, and you do not want to miss it.